Albuquerque Al. About 10 years ago, we moved to Scottsdale, but people still called him Albuquerque Al. Finally, last year, they stopped. They started to call him Arizona Al. You know what he did? He moved back to Albuquerque. Next week, I'll tell you about the time he almost moved to Earth. A special welcome back to that legendary Raider, Matt Millen, who after a playoff loss in 1986 acted more like a legendary sweathog. He tried to beat everybody up. Welcome back, Matt.
Second home game of the regular season for the Oakland Raiders on a splendid day for football. 74 degrees in Oakland and a capacity crowd as the 1-2 Philadelphia Eagles take on the Oakland Raiders, who have won 2 and lost 1. Hello everybody, Dick Stockton and Matt Millen, 9 years in the silver and black. Welcome back, Matt.
Hey, it feels good. I tell you what, you got the color, you got the sound right, Oakland Raiders. The only thing that's missing is, I got to get a couple of hits in, and I feel right at home.
As long as it's not like after that Patriots game. Well, what about the Raiders? Because they have a different kind of style that people are used to, and people are now asking questions, when are the Raiders going to go up on top with those long patented passes?
Yeah, and Dick, I've been one of the guys who've been asking those questions. You know what I think the answer is? I think today you're going to find that they're going to go up, because I think they've shown a lot of patience with this offense, but they've also been holding their card back. And the two cards that have to be played today that I think will be played, Tim Brown and Rocket Ismail. They both have the speed to get deep, and Philadelphia's corners have been having a tough time against the deep ball.
And that's not the only place where the Philadelphia Eagles are struggling. It's been a kind of a chaotic start for them with Cunningham and Waters mouthing off. But Ray Rhodes, their first-year head coach, has stood fast pretty well.
I'll tell you what, I am 100% behind Ray Rhodes. I'll tell you what he's done. He said, this is my team. I'm going to bring my pieces of the puzzle in. I don't care what they did before. It's what we do now. You either get with me or you're gone. He's laid down the law. He still needs a few pieces, though, but he's on the right track.
And he said if the losses continue, he's going to make some major changes. But what he really angered him this week, Matt, was the special teams performance against San Diego.
Drove him crazy. They gave up too many big plays in the special teams. They're going to have problems today again in special teams because Napoleon Kaufman, along with Tim Brown, have big playability. In fact, this week in Philadelphia, Ray Rhodes went and had special teams practices. We'll see today if it paid off.
All right, they'll be under the gun. So it'll be the Eagles and the Raiders. Coming up before a sellout crowd in Oakland and all of those fans. We'll be back after this. Question that the Oakland Coliseum and the fans here in the East Bay are great supporters of the Raiders. It's a home field advantage, unquestionably. Sunny skies, as we said, 74 degrees. Not much of a wind right now. And these home fans were a factor in the Raiders' opening game win over the Chargers on September the 3rd in their 17-7 victory.
Dick, I got to tell you, this place is louder than I remember it. 1981 when we last left. In fact, when we left, they were boycotting us.
Not anymore. Kelvin Martin back with Charlie Garner and Cole Ford, a rookie. Kicking off, Jeff Jager still out with a knee injury. And it's a short kick fielded by Kelvin Martin. And he doesn't get much. And on the skin portion of the baseball infield, the Eagles will start out. They have not shifted the gridiron yet, as the Oakland A's just finished playing this week at home. Randall Cunningham, who has not quite gotten down the West Coast offense, which is now being played on the West Coast today in his 11th year. His offensive line, rookie Barrett Brooks, Antone Davis continues to play in place of Lester Holmes. Waters and McCrary in the backfield, Williams and Barnett the receivers, and Ed West the tight end. First down on the 27. And here is Ricky Waters. Doesn't get much. Maybe a yard, that's all. Mike Jones making the tackle. Raiders defense. Swilling, who came over from Detroit. McLaughlin, he's the one to watch. Jerry Ball and Anthony Smith still playing in place of Nolan Harrison. Jones, Beekert, and Fredrickson Good trio of linebackers. And in the secondary, Albert Lewis, Eddie Anderson, Derek Hoskins, and Terry McDaniel in the secondary. 2nd and 9. Movement, penalty marker down, and the pass is complete. And Fred Barnett making the reception, and a gain of 12 yards pending the penalty. Our referee today is Ed Hockley.
It looks like the Raider right side jumped off. And that's what Hockley told.
Penalty flag in the play.
Offsides by the defense, number 56. The penalty is declined. Play results in a first down.
Still on the infield portion. And the handoff. And it's Ricky Waters, and a good gain. Nearly 9 yards on that running play on first down. And right now, for McDonald's game break, let's return to James. So Sam Weiss's prediction of a victory comes true. They're 2-2 on the year. And the Redskins are 1-3. 2nd down and 1 at the 49. Here is Waters. And Waters should have enough for the first down. Pat Swilling on the line making the tackle. Both teams lost last week after squandering leads. The Eagles had a 14-0 lead. Number called as head coach. First down at the 49 for the Eagles. Cunningham overthrows Barnett.
Well, this is a sight that the Philadelphia Eagle offensive line is going to have to get ready for all day long. Number 91, Chester McLaughlin. Now, what he does very well is he just blows up the middle of the line. He's a huge, powerful man, and he pushes the center of that pocket, and what that does is allow the outside guys to come up and be a factor.
2 tight ends for the Eagles, and Charlie Garner has come in the game in the backfield. 2nd and 10. And the call goes to Garner. Nothing doing. It'll be 3rd down and long for the Eagles. Jerry Ball with the push.
When you watch this Philadelphia offense, so much is talked about the passing game. But this passing game is predicated on its own. It's got to have a productive day out of Waters.
Kelvin Martin is the 3rd wide receiver on 3rd and 11. Pressure up the middle on Cunningham, who's a threat to run. He's going to do just that. And Randall Cunningham will have the first down. So like Jeff Hostetler, Cunningham can run with the ball. McLaughlin brings him down, but not before a 17-yard pickup.
Now that right there is what absolutely kills the defense. You get the great pressure, he just improvises, takes off and runs, picks up the big first down.
And for those of you who saw Tampa Bay beat Washington, welcome to the Oakland Coliseum. The Eagles marching on their first possession of a scoreless game. They're on the Raider 34-yard line. Ricky Waters, who has been effective carrying the ball on this first drive, picks up about 3 yards before Rob Fredrickson brings him down.
Remember last week they played San Diego. They came out, Philadelphia Eagles, and they ran the football real well. They were throwing the ball real well. Everything was in sync. And I think that's what they have to do today. They've got to come out and they've got to have a fast start. The difference between last week and this week is they have to adjust better in the second half.
And they have to sustain. Remember, they had that 2-touchdown lead. 2nd and 7. Cunningham swings it to Waters. Dangerous as a receiver. And Ricky Waters down the sideline is pushed out of bounds inside the 10-yard line by Greg Beekert. And another big gain for the Eagles, good for 24 yards.
That's a nice job of just running this offense. Cunningham looks down, knows that he has Waters out.
The ball 25 times last week as a receiver and a rusher. 1st and goal at the 7. And Charlie Garner trying to find running room, gets in for the touchdown.
That was all Charlie Garner did. That thing was designed to go outside. He saw a crack, and this is what Charlie Garner has given the Philadelphia Eagles. The ability to burst through that crack.
He came into the game averaging over 5.5 yards per carry. That's his 2nd touchdown rushing of the year.
This is where it's supposed to go. Here's what he sees right back here. Now this is called running with your eyes. See, stop, boom, right back inside. Have the safety going one way. He comes back the other way, and that's 6 points. That's all Charlie Garner.
And he has quieted this raucous Oakland crowd. Pretty good 1-2 running attack with Ricky Waters and Charlie Garner. And now Gary Anderson with the extra point. It's good, and the Eagles stun the Raiders with an opening drive, which should satisfy Ray Rhodes, and it's 7-0.
You know, the thing that...
And as we said, Jeff Hostler has similar abilities. Welcome to the Oakland Coliseum, along with Matt Millen, Dick Stockton. The Philadelphia Eagles have marched 73 yards on the opening drive of the game, capped by a 7-yard touchdown run by Charlie Garner to take a 7-0 lead over the Raiders. Gary Anderson with a low end-over-end kick, and Rocket Ismail returning inside the 10-yard line, getting a good return for the Raiders. And Steve Hendrickson, who was just added to help the special teams force for the Eagles, made the tackle after a return of 30.
I see the first strategy that they tried to do with special teams was pin the kickers from sideline to sideline.
Jeff Hostetler, who has 3 touchdowns and 2 interceptions in the first 3 games. Robert Jenkins, Steve Wisniewski, Dan Turk, Kevin Gogan, and Greg Strepanak, a pretty big offensive line. Williams, Fenner, the blocking back. Brown and Ismail, the wide out. Terry Cash, the tight end. First play is to Napoleon Kaufman, who starts in the backfield, and Kaufman with a good cut gets 4 yards. William Thomas brings him down. The Eagles defense, number 1 pick Mike Mamula, undersized as a defensive end. Gunn, Harmon, and Fuller. Fuller, their top player up front. William Thomas, Kurt Govea, and Bill Romanowski, the linebackers. And a change in the secondary. Eric Zomalt is starting in place of the injured Michael Zordich, who's out with a groin injury. Hard count. Flag is down on 2nd and 6. The pass is complete to Darrell Hobbs. Hostetler trying to draw the Eagles off on a hard count, picked up 11 yards. And it appears to be a penalty.
Beating anymore, so he actually thinks this is a perfect fit for him.
First down on the 48-yard line of the Eagles. And the pitch to Kaufman, the number 1 pick for the Raiders. Nearly knocked behind the line of scrimmage by Romanowski, and picked up 6 yards before Mark McMillan make the play.
You know, you look at the Philadelphia Eagles and you see the difference with Charlie Garner. Well, number 26 right here, he's the difference for this Raiders team. The Kaufman. Napoleon Kaufman looks like the same guy as Charlie Garner. A little tighter, a little more compact, but he's got the great quickness and he's got that magic we were talking about.
And I think the running backs on both teams mirror each other.
Yeah, they kind of do.
Where you going, Govea?
2nd and 4. 2 tight ends, and here comes the blitz. And the quick toss to Kerry Cash. Answering the blitz, Hostetler deeper into Eagle territory, gets 5 yards, and Zomalt makes his first play.
Yeah, an interesting call by Ray Rhodes. You see, what's happening now with offenses is that teams are having a tough time once they get down inside the red zone in that 20. So what they're doing is offenses are trying to take their shot from about the 30-35 so they have more of a field to work with. Ray Rhodes counters right now by putting the quick pressure to still make them work slowly down the field and make their own mistakes.
Raiders will come out with 3 wide receivers. Darrell Hobbs, the 3rd. First down on the 38 of the Eagles. And the pass is intercepted by Govea. And the middle linebacker pauses and picks up the first turnover of the game. Good rush on Jeff Hostetler. Nearly knocked down as he threw the pass, and the first turnover of the game, and the Eagles get the ball.
Dick, I got to tell you, there was great coverage downfield. Hostetler wanted to go out to the flat, but it was not there. And then he got the pressure up inside, forced him to throw the ball, and Govea, who's just playing center field underneath, makes a great play. You know, watch, first of all, you're going to get the pressure up inside. And it's Fuller just goes right by Strepanak. And then Strepanak and Hostetler are down, and Hostetler stays with it. This is a sign of a good quarterback, you know. That's a tough guy. You know, you may make a mistake, but you come back and you make a plus.
A personal foul has been tacked onto the play.
You see the pressure. Now watch Govea just hanging inside. See, it's a matchup zone. He was trying to get to the tight end. Nice coverage all the way around. The key to that whole coverage was Bill Romanowski out in the flat. He wanted to throw the ball out there. Romanowski jumped it. It wasn't there, and Gavea makes the pick.
So the veteran for several years with the Washington Redskins, now in his 9th year. Remember, Byron Evans manned the middle linebacking position.
The interception, there was a personal foul, illegal block below the waist by the passing team, number 22. That's a 15-yard penalty that's added to the end of the run. Philadelphia will keep the ball. First down.
I don't get that one. I never heard of a team that threw the interception trying to throw a block.
That was running back Harvey Williams.
Heck, it was probably out of fear. You don't throw blocks. You may be ducking to get out of the way of somebody.
That's going to be a very costly penalty, and Mike White really upset with the head linesman George Hayward, because that will add 15 more yards and will give the Eagles possession just inside the 35-yard line of the Raiders.
Well, that whole thing was made again by the backers. Bill Romanowski outside in the coverage, and then Kurt Gavea, who has a great feel for pass coverage inside.
Big opportunity for the Eagles, already in front 7-0. Handoff is to Ricky Waters. Waters can't carry the ball enough to suit him.
I want you to watch up in the top left hand of your screen, number 22. He's going to come into your picture, Harvey Williams. Right up here. This is on Bill Romanowski. Romanowski's going to make the tackle, and I was right. See, that was out of fear. He just didn't want to get killed, and they called that an illegal block, when in fact all he was doing was ducking to get out of the way.
2nd down and 8 on the Raider 32. And a play fake, pressure on Cunningham, and his pass is caught by Calvin Williams.
Pass is complete.
And a first down. So right now it looks as if Randall Cunningham West Coast offense to a T, and a gain of 15 yards.
Well, what they did, they came this way, and then you're going to see McDaniel will go inside like he's coming on a blitz. Eddie Anderson, the safety, has to come all the way across the field, and that's what Cunningham sees. Once he sees that corner jump up, he knows that's a long way for the safety to get to, so you just hit Williams out there.
Anderson, the veteran. Williams with 3 catches for 49 yards last week against the Chargers. First down on the 17, and on the delay, Ricky Waters. And that did not fool the middle of the line, nor Eddie Anderson, the free safety who came up to the line of scrimmage.
Well, and anytime you see a safety like Anderson up at the line of scrimmage.
Cunningham on the Raiders 16. Cunningham is going to go down, and he is sacked. That was Pat Swilling, the former Detroit Lion, and before that, New Orleans Saint, and a loss of 5.
He should go ahead and kiss Greg Beaker. Watch Greg Beaker. They're going to run the tight end right down the middle. That's what Cunningham is trying to look for. Beaker will lock on him, and that allows Swilling to come around the corner. Here's your coverage right here. See that? That makes the whole play. Then Swilling goes back inside and makes the sack. Watch Swilling come up the corner off the rookie, Barrett Brooks. And because of the coverage by Beaker, that allows the sack.
Second sack of the year for Swilling. 3rd and 14. 3 wide receivers. And there's one of them, Kelvin Martin, who Ray Rhodes said would see a lot more action as a wide receiver today. The former Seahawk and Cowboy in a gain of 9.
Dick, I'll tell you, what Kelvin Martin brings the Philadelphia Eagles is the ability to cut on a dime. Fred Barnett doesn't have that. He's kind of a stiffer receiver. He's more of an up-the-field guy. And Calvin Williams is a long strider, so he doesn't kind of make all those moves. Kelvin Martin has that, and I think they'll utilize that more as the season goes on.
Gary Anderson was 1 for 2 last week. Missed a 24-yarder. It wasn't his fault. It was a snap situation. This is a 30-yard attempt. And Anderson's kick is good, and the former Pittsburgh Steeler has given the Eagles a 10-0 lead over the Raiders as Philadelphia capitalizes on the Raider turnover. Coliseum, where the Philadelphia Eagles have stunned the Raiders with 10 points here in the first quarter. Will be kicking off Gary Anderson, and kicking deep to Napoleon Kaufman and Rocket Ismail, and it's Ismail again with another good return. That's 2 for Raghib Ismail. This one 26 yards, and Mark Woodard making the tackle. Timeout on the field.
Got gouged in special teams, so Ray Rhodes practiced all week long And this week, Nate Dingle, 55, makes a big mistake. Both these guys hold the outside. Now Dingle will jump back inside. Guess what? That opens up a lane. All that tells you is that's a young player who still doesn't quite understand how to play special teams.
And as a result, Ismail has his 2 longest kickoff returns of the season. First down on the 38. Kaufman throws off the right side. Boy, he can motor in a hurry. And
I'll tell you what else is motored in a hurry right there. Steve Wisniewski. Steve Wisniewski just took the backer and buried him inside. And then just to let him know who was the boss, watch him right up here. 76 is going to come around. Watch him at the end of this play. He's going to stuff the backer right there. Boom. Now watch. Keep going. Keep going. Takes his head, stuffs it into the ground, and says, look, you're mine. That's just part of the mind game that they start playing all day long.
2nd and 5 on the 43 of the Raiders. And here is an end around to Rocket Ismail, but he loses the ball, and the Eagles recover.
That's going to be a score, Dick.
Greg Jackson is going to run it in. The only man to beat is Hostetler, and a touchdown. No penalty markers down. And it was Andy Harmon who forced the fumble.
Andy Harmon forced the fumble. William Thomas made the play by forcing it back inside. And then Jackson was there just to be the cleanup guy.
What a shocking first quarter. The struggling Eagles now are up by a score of 16-0.
Ismail will come around. Now you're going to see 51. See, he does this perfect job of holding him back inside. And then you just got to hustle. See, if you miss it back inside. That allows Harmon to make the strip, and then Jackson just cleans up.
Andy Harmon caused the bubble.
42-yard scamper by Greg Jackson, and Gary Anderson is aboard to kick the extra point. Raiders don't know what hit them, and it is 17-0 as the Eagles have taken advantage of 2 big miscues by the Silver and Black.
Have you heard what Jim's dropped?
Moments ago, furiously taking notes, as well he would, with the Eagles in front 17-0. Ismail back deep. He's had 2 fine kickoff returns, but look at what the Raiders have done with their first 2 possessions, an interception and a fumble, both resulting in scores. Gary Anderson will kick off. Kaufman is back deep along with Ismail, and it's still a directional kick to the Rocket. And Ismail brings it out beyond the 25-yard line. And again, Mark Woodard making the tackle. A return of 21.
Exhibits 2 great qualities of good defenders. First of all, good discipline. Stay as deep as the deepest. If you miss them, make them miss inside. And then second, never quit. You never know what's going to happen, because William Thomas, 51, is the guy that allows this touchdown to be made, because he's the one who gets the block at the end on Jeff Hostetler. So you credit Andy Harmon for the strip, but William Thomas makes the big play.
Well, what's happened here are 2 things. Number one, the Eagles have silenced the crowd, which is a big advantage for the Raiders, and they have also boosted their own confidence many decibels. Philadelphia with a big edge in the total yardage. Raiders with a first down on the 27. And a play action pass. Hostetler looking for a receiver, and he finds one. Tim Brown on a crossing pattern. Jackson brings him down, and it's a first down near midfield.
Whole lot of time to throw that football. Hostetler looked deep. They were sending people up, and then he still had time to regroup because they maintained the pocket. Look at this thing in here. All kinds of time to throw that football. Wisniewski out to take care of Fuller. And then when you have that much time, you're going to beat somebody. And the guy who you like to beat him with is Tim Brown.
There's Brown with the catch. Darrell Hobbs joins the receiver corps. 3 wide outs. On the 48-yard line. And Hostetler passes again. And the pass is caught by Brown once more. They're going to go to the hot hand. Tim Brown, who had 7 catches for 72 yards last week.
This is almost the same thing as the previous play. Lots of time to throw. They can't collapse the pocket. You allow them that much time. And the thing that I like what they're doing is they know who to go to with that football. You know, things start falling apart. Go to your pro. Go to the guy who knows how to get it done, Tim Brown.
He did not catch a pass against the Chiefs last week until 5 minutes were gone in the second quarter. First down on the Eagle 35. Hand off to Harvey Williams. Off the left side, and not much there. Gain of 4. That's not a bad gain, really, with Mike Mamula, the #1 pick, making the tackle. Mamula out of Boston College, and a lot of expected of him, even though he's really undersized for a defensive
Well, you
lineman.
know, that's a deceiving term, Dick. You know, you start talking about undersized guys. Some guys aren't heavy enough, but they play big. And then other guys are real big and they play small. So I think the thing with Mamula is he's still learning. And that's a work in progress right there. He's got the tools. It's just going to take some time.
2nd down and 6. Hostetler swings it out to Williams, and he is dropped immediately by William Thomas. And so far, the Eagle linebackers have been playing superb football, and a loss that time before.
Well, and the one thing that was a concern that came out of that San Diego game was William Thomas. You know, William Thomas is a guy who can run. He's real good in space. He understands how to play pass coverage, but he's not real good at the point of attack. He plays too much with his hands. And so what he's got to learn to do is step up there and drop his face in the middle of that thing and get a little lead in his drawer so he can hold the point.
3rd and 10. The Eagles bring a lot of people up to the defensive line and drop back. Hostetler's pass. It's caught by Darryl Hobbs. And on 3rd and 10, Hostetler with a first down. A gain of 18 yards. Derek Frazier making the tackle. Raiders thought they could take advantage of that secondary today. And a flag is down as well.
That was a nice job by Hostetler. He made the safety move by looking to the right side of the field, and that allowed Hobbs to come back inside. Tell you, Jeff Hostetler reminds me so much of Jim Plunkett, it's scary.
After the play was over, personal foul, unnecessary roughness on the defense, number 96. Half the distance to the goal, first down.
Mark Gunn, the defensive tackle, so they'll mark off more yardage, half the distance to the goal.
See the left side of your screen right there. Oh, he just got a retaliation on Wisniewski right there.
And Ronnie Dixon has replaced Gunn in the defensive
remember
line.
I told you about Wisniewski? Well, he'll give you that a little bit extra. See, that's what you get out of it. You give that little bit of extra push, and then pretty soon you retaliate and you get flagged.
Gunn went for the bait. 1st and goal at the 9. Harvey Williams to about the 7-yard line.
I'm really impressed with Steve Wisniewski. When I watch him on tape, that guy's a heart stealer. Now, he'll get out there and he'll pound you and play mind games and grind you until he just absolutely makes you quit and he steals your heart.
And Penn State has nothing to do with all this.
Oh, did I forget to mention that? The Penn State kid, his brother played with me. Heck, I have a picture of Steve Wisniewski when he was 12 years old asking for a pat on the back at Penn State.
He's legitimate. You're right. 2nd and goal at the 7. Here's Williams again, and he gets inside the 5-yard line, and that may be the last play of the first quarter. That was a 4-yard pickup with Andy Harmon making the tackle, and that should be the last play. So the Raiders, who fell behind by 17 points, now knocking on the Philadelphia door. And that is the end of the first quarter here at the Oakland Coliseum. 17-0, the Eagles. Dick Stockton and Matt Millen, the Philadelphia Eagles, with a 17-0 lead, taking advantage of 2 Raider turnovers. But now the Raiders, who started on their own 27, have a 3rd and goal on the 3-yard line, and they are successful this year to the tune of 3rd in the NFL with 6 touchdowns in 9 trips inside the 20.
You watch this Mike White coached offense, and I still get the sense that the Raiders still don't know quite what they are. And I think when they finally figured that out, they're going to do a lot of good things offensively.
8th play coming up. Ismail in motion. Hostetler rolling out. Goes the other way with it, and the pass is overthrown. Andrew Glover, the big tight end, was the intended receiver, and he was well overthrown.
Boy, Tim Brown is hot. Now that corner over there, Derek Frazier is working on him hard. Gets the jam inside the 5. Now, I got to tell you something. You can't say anything about that. You know, if you're a receiver, you say something. But Tim Brown's pushing as much as Derek Frazier's pushing. And the officials are just letting him play. I like that.
And a penalty flag
I think that's going to be on Tim Brown.
Was thrown late. Here's Ed Hockley.
After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct by the offense, number 81, throwing his helmet to the ground. It's a 15-yard penalty, and it's 4th down.
And that was a costly one because that's going to make the field goal attempt by Cole Ford that much tougher. So we have had a couple of flare-ups on either side.
Well, remember what Mike White talked about all last week with the penalties and how he wanted to try to take care of that. And this one just came back and bit him in the rear end.
This will be a 36-yard field goal attempt. It would have been a chip shot before that penalty to Brown. So here is Cole Ford, who was 4 for 5 thus far. And the kick is good. So Ford makes good nonetheless. So despite the penalty to Tim Brown, still hot under the collar. It's 17-3 now, the Eagles. As the Raiders scoring drive, 9 plays, 55 yards. They have to settle for a field goal, however. It was 35 yards. After Matt, they had 1st and goal on the Eagle 9. Good defense by Philadelphia.
Great defense by the Eagle defense.
Cole Ford will be kicking off. Kelvin Martin on the run at the 10-yard line. With a return beyond the 30-yard line. And it was James Trapp on the tackle.
Now remember, you're right here. You got about 2 yards deep because you have 5 yards to get your jam. They motion back. They're trying to isolate Brown on Frazier, and Frazier does an outstanding job. You get the jam, stay with it. That's as good as it gets. That's good football all the way around. See, now Tim Brown is going to push off. Frazier will get the jam inside. They're jacking and pushing each.
And that's his 2nd of the game. A loss on the play of 6. And right now, for a McDonald's game break, let's return. Phenomenal season Emmitt Smith has had.
Yeah, that's going to get ugly, that game, I think. I think what happened last week is the Cowboys got a little bit embarrassed.
The Minnesota game was too close for comfort for them. On 2nd and 16, Ricky Waters, nothing. And that'll bring up 3rd and long for the Philadelphia Eagles. Austin Robbins making the stop as the Raiders are rotating their defensive line. They're the Eagles and their first 2 offensive forays resulting in scores, the touchdown and the field goal. And they didn't really have good field position each time.
Well, the first time they didn't, but right now what's happened is that the Eagles have allowed this crowd to get right back into it. And now you start playing against 12 people when you're on offense in a stadium like this.
Cunningham chased, and down he goes.
Andre Bruce,
former Atlanta Falcon out of USC. And that's the 3rd sack of the game by the Raiders.
Well, this is the 2nd sack in this series, and both offensive tackles this time down below. You're going to see Bruce working on Antone Davis, and he just powers him. Gets underneath, uses a leverage game, and then he just drops outside. What happened was Davis is thinking that he's going to protect the inside, and then Cunningham jumped outside, and Bruce got the sack.
I don't want to cheat Auburn, the Auburn Tigers. That's where Bruce played. Tom Hutton will kick from the end zone. And Tim Brown ready to return. Good kick by Hutton. Sends Brown inside his 40-yard line. And a great coverage. That may be the best kick coverage of the year by the Philadelphia Eagles. And it was Frank Wainwright who made the tackle. Back here in Oakland, Danny Smith, the special teams coach who came from Georgia Tech in his first year, under fire after the poor coverage, but pretty good on that last kick by the Eagles.
Oh, and if it came down to energy, heck, you could take some of his energy and make him go down and make some tackles. I think he'd do that.
He's a native of Western Pennsylvania in Pittsburgh, and you see why there's heat on Smith, because the coverage near the worst in the league.
Yeah, that's, you can look at it the other way. He's only going to get better.
I love the way you're optimistic.
Right.
Best starting field position of the game for the Raiders. Hostetler gets hit, and his pass is incomplete to Brown. And good pressure. William Fuller came storming in and knocked Hostetler down. Well, there are a lot of new shows coming to television this fall, but one is guaranteed to blow them away. The producers of The X-Files are unveiling an incredible new drama, and the whole world will be watching. Fox presents the 2-hour series premiere of Space Above and Beyond tonight at 7, 6 Central. 2nd and 10 at the 41 on the dirt portion of the field. Napoleon Kaufman, the lone back, gets the handoff. And again, it was William Thomas. He is much improved so far in this first half than the way he's played so far.
Well, they played right into his strength. You know, you bounce it outside and you let him play in space. But the guy who's got improved now is Mike Mamula. Watch him right here, 59. He's going to go against Jenkins, and Jenkins is just going to hold him, get him back inside. See the hold right there? They hold him, and that allows him to get to the corner. He's got to learn to play with leverage and hold that backside shoulder.
Bobby Taylor is in as an extra defensive back. James Jett, along with Hobbs and Brown, the wideouts. 3rd and 7. Again, the hard count might have drawn the Eagles off, and Hostetler's pass. What a catch by Darryl Hobbs with one hand, and he stayed in bounds. 17 yards and a first down on the flag as well. And Hostetler did draw the Eagles offside. They'll decline the penalty.
Offside by the defense, number 96. The penalty is declined. The play results in a first down.
You watch Hostetler. He just lets this one go a little bit too high. Now watch Hobbs climb the ladder. Goes up, control, comes right through. Darryl Hobbs, people forget, not only can he run, he's about 6'3". He's a big, tall guy. That's a big receiver.
3 catches, 46 yards already for Darryl Hobbs. Raiders with a first down on the Philadelphia 39. Here's Harvey Williams with a great change of direction, and Williams close to the first down. This is by a yard. Drake Jackson in the secondary.
Yeah, I tell you what, Tim Brown made a great block. Tim Brown in the transition game, you know, you run patterns and all that stuff. Now you have to block. Watch what he does with the safety. Faces him up. Now once he turns his shoulder, just blocks him inside, and then he throws himself into William Thomas on top of it. I think that Tim Brown is a complete player. I think he's one of those guys who's a tough guy. He'll catch inside. He's fast enough to get deep, and he's one of the leaders of the group.
And he wants to be great.
Oh, yeah, because he is. I mean, and he's going to maintain it.
2nd down and 2. Play fake. Hostetler has time, and the pass is caught.
That's picked off.
And no, it's intercepted. You're right.
That's a great job by McMillan. Oh, that's a great, and there should be a flag at the end of that one, too.
And McMillan is going after one of the Raiders. Tim Brown was the intended receiver, and McMillan stripped the ball away from him.
And Derek Fenner, at the end, grabbed him and just slammed him. That's a great play by Mark McMillan. I mean, Hostetler was waiting for Tim Brown to come back on the comeback. McMillan read it and jumped it, got his body in between, and makes the pick. So he gives him the cushion, and then he's going to read it. He's looking the same thing Hostetler is. Now watch, he notices it, now he jumps it. Great recovery, and a nice little job at the end of wrestling. See how he got his body in between, and was able to leverage it out of there. Now watch the end. Here comes Fenner. He's gonna that looks like he's off the top rope in the WWF.
He's got a big weight advantage, though.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, he doesn't.
Plays ruled an interception, first down.
Yeah, he doesn't have a bigger heart than 29. Watch 29. See how he sees it? Now he recognizes. Now jump it. Get up there. Now watch. See how he uses his body? That's outstanding. It does not get better than that from a corner.
That is the 2nd interception thrown by Hostetler, the 3rd turnover of the game by the Raiders.
Tim Brown's doing everything right. He drives him off. Now you come back for the football. It's just that McMillan did an outstanding job of driving the ball.
So Haas had a chance, but the turnover, the 3rd of the game by the Raiders, and it's a first down for the Eagles on their 24, leading 17-3. McCrary in motion, and the pitch to Ricky Waters. Tried to cut inside and ends up with 3 or 4 yards anyway. Eddie Anderson the tackle. So with the 3 turnovers by the Raiders, there have been 10 points by the Eagles. They have taken advantage of those mistakes by Mike White's team, and the Eagles now will have 2nd down and 6 coming up. Here's Waters again, slips on the grass and just about gets to the line of scrimmage.
You know, the last series, the Raiders had the 2 sacks, and then now right now they're starting to
get the crowd out of it a little bit again. 3rd down and 6. For the first time today, 4 wide receivers, including Rob Carpenter. Fumble, and Cunningham falls on it. And Anderson falls on Randall. And that'll bring up 4th down, and the Eagles will kick it away.
You know, this guy right here, that's Chester McLaughlin. And you see that ball didn't come up all the way down there because Raleigh McKenzie, 63, knows he's got to get over there. So I'll credit that one to Chester McLaughlin as well.
Tom Hutton will be kicking, and Tim Brown is deep for Oakland. Another good kick by Hutton sends Brown back on the 28-yard line and nowhere to go, and he is ridden out of bounds by Mark Woodard, who's played a fine, outstanding game. We'll have a timeout. 17-3, the Eagles.
Or he's going to be, all he's being is a safety. What he's not going to be is a guy who's going to get hit in the back. See, Albert Lewis comes up, and he just catches the yellow flag right there, because the rule is you never block a guy unless you can see the front of his jersey. You know, and then the other thing is Nate Dingle, 55. You know, they brought him in here just to be on special teams. So you beat the first guy down, and then you run your rear end off as fast as you can. Sometimes it doesn't matter, because even after you beat the guy, you still get hit in the back. Life of special teams.
And they know what to expect. First 4 possessions for the Raiders, they managed only 3 points. They turned it over 3 times, although the Eagles did not capitalize on that last turnover, the interception by McMillan. So the Raiders, after the penalty, will start from the 19-yard line, which is their worst starting field position. Now, going into last week, they had the fewest penalties in the NFL and then committed 11 against Kansas City, going back to their own ways.
Well, they're consistent, you know. They've been consistent for a long time.
James Jett, number 82, and Tim Brown, the wide receivers. Rocket Ismail remains on the sideline. And the pass is caught by the tight end, Andrew Glover. Glover, like Cash, 2 huge tight ends. They're short of the first down by a couple. Eric Zomalt and the linebacker, Bill Romanowski, on the play.
Remember we talked about this offense, how it was such a good fit for Jeff Hostetler, and he said, well, I'm glad, you know, I don't have to take all the hits. I got news for you. He's been taking some shots today. This time Andy Harmon hits him right in the chest. And this is about the 4th or 5th time today that he's been drilled. And they went to that shorter passing game to try to take that kind of thing away from him. But it looks today like they're getting to him.
8 for 12 for 2 interceptions. Joe Bugle, the offensive line coach, and actually the offensive assistant head coach. 2nd and 1. Harvey Williams guides for the first down. So despite the fact that the Eagles don't have any sacks, they have put on a lot of pressure to the quarterback Hostetler.
And see, they're getting to Mamula's corner again. They're starting to play inside. They make the defensive end hold straight up, and then what happens is that Jenkins will grab Mamula's outside shoulder, and they just cut it right back. So either he have backer force, and William Thomas has to come up and do that, or Mamula's got to hold the outside.
On first down, Hostetler to throw. He swings it out to Williams, and Bill Romanowski slowed him up, but not enough, and Williams races to another first down, close to midfield, and Eric Zomalt ultimately pushes him out of bounds.
Well, that's a nice job by Harvey Williams with the swivel hips, because Romanowski has the coverage the whole way. And it's just a simple swing pattern. You're going to watch 53 Romanowski has him all the way, just jump it right outside, now come up and make the tackle. Run right through him. He doesn't get his hands wrapped, and then the swivel of the hips by Williams allows him to pick up the first down.
Gain of 14 yards, and the Rocket is back in the lineup for the Raiders. First down on the 48-yard line of Oakland. And Mamula might have jumped offside. Harvey Williams runs off the right side. And last week against San Diego, Natron Means was successful running to Mamula's side.
Yeah, you can't pin that on Mamula. I think William Thomas last week didn't play very well. I mean, he's got to come up and like I said, he's got to stick his face in there.
offsides by the defense, number 59. It's a 5-yard penalty. It'd be first down.
And one thing, Mamula has come very close to getting the quarterbacks.
Yeah, I mean, when you watch the tapes, you're encouraged because he has good movement. And like I said, maybe he's only 250 pounds, but he plays a little bigger than that. And he does a good job of coming off his first move into his second move. Time is going to make him be better.
3 more passes than runs. 1st and 5 following the penalty, and Napoleon Kaufman, who played his college ball at the University of Washington, is stopped by Mamula that time. Gain of 2 yards.
Steve Wisniewski is back to his tricks again. I mean, he's just mauling people in there. And you know, running backs who finish off runs, you know, you run through and move, you do the shoulder, and you keep on grinding. Wisniewski finishes off blocks. I mean, that's the kind of guy you like to have and build off. Because he gets in there, he'll get you, and then he'll pound you, and then he grinds you.
He may be the smallest of those offensive linemen.
Yeah, 290, he's tiny.
2nd and 3. Play fake, and a good one. Hostetler has all day and tried to go underneath to Kaufman out of the backfield. And a good job coverage downfield by the Eagles secondary.
But Hostetler had a lot of time there to throw that football. And, you know, you see a guy like Steve Wisniewski understand why he is what he is. The first thing you notice about Wisniewski is he's got everything. He's a real smart guy. He can run well. He's got the good size. And he's got that great mean streak. I mean, he'll just grind on you all day long. Big thing is he provides leadership. And I think this is a team right now, the Oakland Raiders, that need leadership, and it has to come from that offensive line.
And he's given it to them. 3rd down and 3 on the Eagle 45. Hostetler swings it out to Kaufman. And Kaufman will get the first down. Very impressive rookie running back. Mark McMillan chased him, but it was a 5-yard gain, and the Raiders with a first down.
Well, this is a tough thing to do right here. You're Bill Romanowski. Remember that magic I talked to you about? Magic is defined as the ability to make somebody miss. Napoleon Kaufman has it, and the guy he made miss was Romanowski. Bill Romanowski came up with a little bit of doubt in his mind, and instead of running right through, he broke down, and that automatically makes Kaufman win. Because once the defender stops his feet, you lose.
Mike White said he's got some quicks. That's how he described Napoleon Kaufman. First down at the 41. Hostetler, pass caught by Williams, and the former Kansas City Chief running back picks up nearly 9 yards with Romanowski on the coverage.
Well, he's getting some time to throw in there, and 3 reasons. Right inside, Wisniewski 76, Dan Turk 67, and then 66 Gogan. But the leader right there is Wisniewski. Anytime you get your nose tackle, you know, he just gets buried at the line, you got some good blocking going on.
Keep in mind that the Raiders playing without the left tackle, Gerald Perry, who's out with a broken arm. Jenkins has taken his slot, 2nd and 2. And a whistle.
False start by the offense, number 66. It's a 5-yard penalty. It remains 2nd down.
It's Kevin Gogan, the right guard. Well, here's what's on tap next week. 49ers.
Who play Monday night, and looks like they are on all cylinders.
2nd and 7 for Hostetler. And goes up top, and the pass is caught by Darrell Hobbs. He beats Steve Hendrickson, and there's a fumble after the play, but it is a good catch and a first down. So Hendrickson has gone in for Govea in the middle.
Well, it wouldn't matter who's back there because they have way too much time to throw that football. Not getting any kind of rush up front. And the pocket is maintained. Hostetler just stays inside the pocket. Again, Gogan getting a good job. Wisniewski inside. A nice job by Skrepenik. Jenkins outside. It allows him to step up and throw and find Hobbs for the first.
First down on the 21 of the Eagles. And here is Napoleon Kaufman, but he is hit. And that was Bill Romanowski who got him first. And a gain of only 1 yard. But Hobbs off to a terrific start. Darrell Hobbs has 4 catches for 60 yards to lead all Raider wide receivers.
Well, the one group that has been playing well for the Eagles has been the linebackers. I think Kurt Govea has been playing well. I think Bill Romanowski has been doing a good job. And William Thomas in coverage has been doing a pretty good job, too. So the strength of the defense right now are those 3 backers, and they're going to really need them now to take away that underneath in the coverage.
Gobert back in the game. 10th play of the drive. Hostetler completes the pass to Rocket Ismail, and a flag is down back at the line of scrimmage. It was Andy Harmon, and he'll be called for roughing the passer.
Yeah, see, the time that they do finally get a break and they get in to get some pressure on him, they throw the flag. Watch Andy Harmon, 91. He's working up top against Kevin Gogan. Now, Gogan just misses him, really. Gets on top, and he just keeps on coming. I think that's a pretty pathetic call. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that. He didn't go to the head. He has him right here. And then he gets pushed at the end by Daniel Stubbs. I think that's horrible.
I'm sure Andy feels that way. It'll be 1st and goal inside the 10-yard line. 17-3, the Eagles in front with 3:35 and running remaining in the half. Harvey Williams drives to the 5.
We talked about Harvey Williams. Majority of the time they said the guy doesn't like to run inside. He's one of those guys who like to hit and then bounce and get outside right away. And I think the transformation has occurred for Harvey. I think he's one of those guys now, he can get behind, you know, Gogan and Wisniewski inside, and he has enough confidence that he'll just keep on grinding the legs. The thing with Harvey is he still will bounce it out, so you have to maintain the discipline of the defense.
Came into the game 3rd in the AFC in rushing, 2nd and goal from the 5. Hostetler again with time, fires incomplete to Rocket Ismail, and a flag in the end zone.
Boy, Hostetler put some heat on that thing. Almost put a hole in Ismail's chest.
He had plenty of time, and let's see where that penalty goes.
Pass interference by the defense, number 29.
It'll be 1st and goal at the
1-yard line. Automatic first down.
Mark McMillan guilty of that foul.
That would have brought up a 3rd down. That's a 2nd penalty right inside here in the 10. You're gonna watch Ismail's gonna come to the inside. McMillan will be on him. Now, I didn't see it there unless he got it a little bit before. That looked like good defense to me.
Must have had that left hand holding in any event after roughing the passer. Pass interference. 1st and goal at the 1. And down to the 1. And Harvey Williams and Greg Jackson.
Greg Jackson did a good job that time.
Came underneath. Jackson already with a touchdown on a fumble return in the 1st quarter.
And that time he saw that lead back coming. He just went up and just threw himself right in. I mean, that's what you got to do. You're playing that, you got to be reckless. You have to just let everything hang out and go whack whatever you see. Goal line football is pure instinct.
Barrett Robbins is lining up as a tight end to the right for the Raiders on 2nd and goal. And Hostetler's pass going to Glover and knocked away. Well, the Eagles playing terrific red zone defense in this half. And we have our 2-minute warning with 1:55 showing on the clock. 55 remaining, 17-3 the score. The last time the Raiders had 1st and goal at the 9, had to settle for a field goal. This drive, now the 14th play coming up, it'll be 3rd and goal at the 1 after the Raiders had a 1st down. Just a yard from the end zone.
And after Andrew Glover just dropped that ball in the end zone.
And the give is for Williams, and his 2nd effort. No signal yet. Touchdown, Oakland.
Well, remember I told you that goal line football is all instinct? Well, that was great instinct by Harvey Williams. But the backers, Govea and Romanowski, read it perfect, and they came up and took their shot. It was the 2nd effort, and him able to spin back inside. Watch 54, Govea sees it right away, comes up, you take on the lead back. Make him jump, Romanowski over the top. Now see that at the end? That was all instinct. I mean, you're inverted in the pike position. I might have to give him about a 9.6 right here.
That's the 3rd touchdown of the season, rushing for Williams, and Bill Romanowski shaken up. We'll be back. Romanowski on the bench, and the Eagles were forced to call a timeout within 2 minutes. An injury requires a timeout, so that is the first for the Eagles of this half, and there is the impressive scoring drive as the Raiders went 81 yards in 14 plays, capped by the second effort work of Harvey Williams. The extra point now by Cole Ford. Gossett the holder, the kick is good, and the score now is 17-10 in favor of the Eagles.
You know, that was one of those plays that was almost right if you're a Philadelphia Eagle. Kurt Gavea makes the right read. What he's got to do is got to take this back on and hold the outside to force it back for Romanowski to have a chance to make the play. Gavea comes up and hits it right in the face. He's got to hold his shoulder because that gives this little bit away, and then Romanowski can't run through. Romanowski left his feet a little bit too soon. Had Gavea been able to force that thing completely back to him, he could run right through this. Still, you can't take away from the great effort of Harvey Williams. That's outstanding. Watch this at the end. See, this is just pure instinct. It's good football.
And it'll be interesting to see is how Ray Rhodes plays it. You remember last week he came under criticism with 1:11 remaining. And his team trailing 17-14, he decided to sit on the ball, not be aggressive offensively, although I think he was a little stunned by the way the Raiders or the Chargers had taken over the game, and maybe he won't go the same way this time.
It's a different game, and it's different circumstances.
Kickoff by Ford. And it'll be Charlie Garner this time on the return for the Eagles. And he carried a Raider on his back. There's a penalty flag thrown upfield, and James Trapp made the tackle, but there is another flag.
You know, that usually means it's a block in the back, and that means it's going to go from the 30 back inside the 20.
And maybe Ray Rhodes shouldn't try anything too fancy at this point. Team still in front, 17-10.
Holding by the receiving team, number 50 on the return. It's a 10-yard penalty, first down.
Steve Hendrickson, who just joined the team this week. Well, our Aflac trivia question today is who was the last Raider to rush for 1,000 yards in a single season? Eagles will start from just inside the 20-yard line. Eagles minus 14 total yards here in the second quarter. Cunningham with a pass, and Waters loses the ball, and the Raiders pick it up.
Great read.
Austin Robbins, and he goes in for the score.
That's a great read by Bob Fredrickson.
Eddie Anderson, the safety, put the hit on Ricky Waters, who coughed it up, and the Raiders get an easy touchdown.
A nice hit. Perfect read outside. They're going to try the screen. Go outside. Mike Jones reads it right away. McLaughlin reads it right away. Eddie Anderson comes up with a great hit. Puts the helmet right on the ball.
Well, we were just talking about whether the Eagles would try anything fancy. That was hardly anything fancy, and that's what can happen. The turnover and the easy score, a 6-yard run-in by Austin Robbins, and now the Raiders can tie it up with a conversion here by Cole Ford, and the kick is good, and the Raiders with 14 quick points have knotted this one up at 17 with 1:37 remaining in the half.
Yeah.
Last week criticized for sitting on the ball. He certainly didn't do that here, but it shows you that when you're backed up near your own goal line, a mistake can cause you. Now the question is, let's see whether Ricky Waters had possession, and I'm not so sure.
It doesn't look it, but it's really not going to make a bit of difference now. Those officials' arms went up in the air, and that's all that matters.
Austin Robbins, who was a 4th-round pick out of North Carolina last year, with his first NFL touchdown. And Eddie Anderson made the hit to cause the fumble, and the kickoff by Ford. Charlie Garner returning, And Garner with a somersault tackled at the 31-yard line. And the answer to today's Aflac trivia question is, who was the last Raider to rush for 1,000 yards in a single season? And the answer, Marcus Allen, 1,759 yards and 85. Not surprising that it was Allen, but surprising that it was 10 years ago, Matt.
Absolutely, and I remember that year, and he led the league that year. Not a bad player, Marcus Allen.
And still going strong. First down at the 31. Game is tied at 17. Pass up the middle to Ed West, and his first catch of the day. Tight end. Mike Jones making the tackle with 1:20 remaining. And a hurry-up offense for the Eagles, who still have 2 timeouts remaining. Again, the pass. And it's incomplete. It was intended for Kelvin Martin, and that'll stop the clock.
That was a catchable ball. That ball was right where it had to be.
Well, coming up on the Dockers halftime, JB, Terry, Howie, and Jimmy will all have the scores and highlights from around the NFL, and that's all coming up on the Dockers halftime. Well, last week the Eagles squandered a 14-0 lead against the Chargers in the first half. They had a 17-0 lead in the first quarter today and have seen that lead disintegrate. 2nd and 10. Cunningham nowhere to go, is sacked for the 4th time. And that'll be the 3rd for Swilling.
And nowhere to go and nowhere to throw. There was nobody out there to throw the ball to. It's one thing when you start saying, you know, he didn't get the ball off, but it's another thing when there's no place to throw the football.
Loss of 7 yards.
And watch the coverage. He's going to go back and he's going to look downfield. You got a 3-receiver route, 4 back underneath. Now look, there's no place to go. Coverage here, safety here, and this. There's nowhere to go. So the only thing you can do is either eat it or take off and run. You know, then you're back inside and you run a stunt with Chester McLaughlin. And he just comes around, and then Swilling does a nice job of staying with the stunt and pushing inside and gets the sack.
3 wide receivers line up for the Eagles. Cunningham. Pass is caught at the 45-yard line by Calvin Williams, his second catch.
Was a heck of a throw by Cunningham. Calvin Williams, he threw that thing down and away, and Calvin Williams had to go between 2 defenders to make that catch.
I wonder whether that was almost a quarter. Again, 3 wide receivers. And the slant into Calvin Williams. He's got it inside the 40. Clock is running. Gain of 6.
Those are some tough throws for Cunningham to make. I mean, those things are the only place they could be.
He's played a good first half. Nearly half a minute to go, and they go underneath to Ed West with his second catch. And the hurry-up continues with under a half a minute to go. And now we'll have a officials stoppage of the clock. And now we're off again. Cunningham, 9 of 11, 95 yards, and now Cunningham stops the clock with 18-second music.
Foreboding. I like 5-boding music. There's foreboding, or foreshadow, or 94.
Trey Rhodes will have 4 wide receivers in the game. Barnett, Williams, Martin, and Carpenter on 2nd and 10. Eagles out of timeouts. And Cunningham off his back foot going for Calvin Williams, and the ball is incomplete. It was grabbed, but out of bounds by Terry McDaniel.
Yeah, he just threw that thing away.
Away with you when you came to the stadium today. Welcome home, Matt. 3rd down and 10. Cunningham going to the sideline to Calvin Williams. Couldn't handle that high toss, and that'll bring up 4th down.
And that was a rough. That was a throw that he had time to make in front of Najee Mustafa, and the thing was, he had the time, he had the nice protection, and the ball just got away from him.
Gary Anderson, who has 1 field goal today from 30 yards. He has missed one from 51 this year, and this will be also a 51-yard attempt with 11 seconds remaining in the first half. Now If that penalty's against the Eagles, that would very well perhaps knock them out of field goal range. And Ed Hockley indicates that it is against the Eagles.
False start by the offense, the left guard. 5-yard penalty remains fourth down.
That's Guy McIntyre. He signaled the left guard.
You watch right inside here. Joe Panos, 72. Yeah, he jumped. There is no excuse for that, ever. The ball is right in front of you. You don't work off the defender, you work off the ball.
That's going to make Gary Anderson's cast that much more difficult. This will be a 56-yard attempt.
This is blocking area right here. Different trajectory of the ball.
And the kick is going to be short. If it had been 51, Anderson might have made it.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's how much Anderson missed it. So the penalty cost the Eagles 3 points.
Now this is probably about as far as Anderson can kick it. Yeah, he had that 5 yards tacked on. He had a chance of making that one.
7 seconds remain in the half, and the Raiders will take over on their own 45.
But I got to tell you, that Ray Rhodes got to feel good about the way they finished this half. Even though you missed the kick, you moved it, you made some big plays, you got your offense back together, and so he'll feel good about working on something going into the half.
I mean, here's his team leading 17-0, shades of a week ago, blowing the lead, and then fighting and very nearly regaining it. As Al Davis looking on, came to practice Thursday, and El Segundo, one of his rare appearances up in the Los Angeles area, to watch the Raiders practice. First down on the 46. Four wide receivers, 3 lined up to the right. Hostetler gets away from trouble, and down he goes. And William Fuller will pick up the sack on Hostetler. And slow getting up is Fuller. He was a top pass rusher last year. Eagles and Raiders tied at 17. Stay tuned for the Dockers halftime as Fox NFL Sunday continues after these messages from your local station.
On the other side of the ball, you know, the Raiders, they got their thing. Eddie Anderson comes up with a real nice hit out of this screen, and then the ball scooped up by Robbins, and then another touchdown the other end. And so what you have is an emotional roller coaster right now. You know, you're up, you're down, you're up, you're down, you're even. The thing is, if you're the Philadelphia Eagles or the Oakland Raiders right now, it's a whole new game. Because the Eagles, I think, has a little bit of a plus going in off the halftime when they didn't self-destruct and they actually moved the football, so that's something to build on.
And they almost had the field goal at the end that could have given the lead before the penalty.
And the other thing that has to be talked about is the quarterback. I think both quarterbacks have done a pretty good job. Hostetler had the interceptions, and then Cunningham did a nice job through the stretch. See, 9 for 14, 13 out of 19. The interceptions have been the difference, but the key thing, Cunningham's offense moved at the end of the half.
Cunningham did have a good first half. Remember, he's been a little slow getting into that West Coast offense so far. And for Jeff Hostetler, as you pointed out, it's been a better fit for him in the Mike White, more conservative offensive attack than what the Raiders have been known for over the years.
Yeah, it's a good point you bring that up, Dick, because I'm still waiting to see the deep thing. I haven't seen it at all. And I really expected it today with the play of Frazier. Oh, Frazier's played very well through the first half. And McMillan, who also had a pick and played well in the first half.
Jeff Hostetler warming up because he'll have a chance to run the offense first. Rocket Ismail, who has averaged 25 yards on 3 kick returns. That's a season's high for him. And Gary Anderson kicking off, and it's going to Napoleon Kaufman inside the 10-yard line. On the dirt, Kaufman is dropped shy of the 25-yard line, a 17-yard return.
See, we talked about how they're throwing the football and are they throwing it deep, and you can see they've only tried 1 pass over 15 yards. I mean, everything is down inside, and I think philosophically this is completely different than the Raiders have ever been. And there's one thing about running that offense like the 49ers run, but the 49ers still take their shot down the field. These guys have not taken it, and I think that's a departure, because the old days you just took your shot and you make people adjust to you.
First down on the 25-yard line. Daniel Stubbs is in for Fuller, who is expected to return for the Eagles. Hostetler on a screen pass to Harvey Williams on the first play, and Williams with a great run. Remember, he scored the touchdown on the second effort, and this time gets 29 big yards, most of it after the catch, before the safeties make the tackle.
Well, credit Kerry Cash on a pick right here on Bill Romanowski. Watch 53 Romanowski. Cash is going to take him, and then he's just going to, right there, see that was on the other left side of your screen. That opened the whole thing wide open, and then they can't get out. And then what happens, Harvey Williams gets to the secondary. You just can't stay up with it.
29 yards.
There is Cash, came over from Indianapolis, one of two big tight ends the Raiders have. First down in Eagle territory at the 46-yard line, and here's Williams trying to go outside, gets past Romanowski, and finally Mark McMillan runs him out of bounds, but the Raiders moving the ball impressively in their first possession here. That was an 8-yard gain for Williams, who had 8 carries and 25 yards and a score in the first half.
You know, they start pounding inside between those 3 big inside people of the Raiders, and then what that does is that opens your outside game for Harvey Williams. So he'll stick it up, and boom, now he bounces it outside. You've drawn your defense in.
Kaufman is now at the running back position. The tailback at 2nd and 2. And Napoleon Kaufman isn't going to get it, may lose a yard as he tried to test the middle of the line to no avail. Mike Mamula.
Nice job by Gunn at the point, and the backers sticking up. They really haven't run power football on the Eagles. What they've done is they stretched them out, and they've hit a couple things off tackles, start inside and bounce it outside.
It'll be 3rd and short as the big wide receiver threats come out of the game.
The Eagles are in disarray right now where they're at with the personnel.
2 tight ends in there. Fenner is lined up as a tight end on the right wing. 3rd down and 1. Hostetler will throw out of this formation, and it's a first down. That was Cash. One of the 2 tight ends in there, and the Raiders are close to the 25-yard line of Philadelphia. A pickup of 10. Bobby Taylor, rookie from Notre Dame, making the stop for Philadelphia.
I looked right there like the Eagles were not on the same page. They had guys running in and out and pointing and saying who's where and, you know, where are things supposed to be, and then they played defense like they just lined up. It just, you know, nobody was where they had to be.
First down at the 26-yard line. There's Stubbs, who's starting this half for Fuller, who was shaken up in the last play of the first half. Play fake to Kaufman, Hostetler, and trying to go underneath to Kaufman out of the backfield, but it was off his fingertips.
And a nice job by Mark McMillan outside on Tim Brown. They were going to try to stop and go, and a little bit of a stutter, and they were looking for McMillan to bite on the stutter. And Brown takes the stutter, but McMillan never bites. See this right there? He anticipated perfectly and stayed with the coverage, and that forced the underneath throw by Hostetler.
The Eagles scored 17 points in the first quarter. The Raiders 17 in the second stanza. It is 2nd and 10. Hostetler keeping the ball in the air, intended for Tim Brown. He is defended downfield by McMillan again.
Boy, that is a competitive guy, that Mark McMillan. He's not a real big guy at all. In fact, he's a tiny guy. He's only 5'7", about 155 pounds. But I think his heart is about 145 of those pounds. I mean, that guy just plays on desire. He stays in there. He hangs tough. He's a great reader. The one thing that he does is he'll jump a route. And some teams try to take advantage of that with the double moves.
Good coverage. That was Ismail, the intended receiver on that play. It'll be 3rd down and 10. And again, the Eagles might have jumped. Hostetler looking for help. This may be a free play for him, and he dives shy of the first down by about a yard. Eric Zomalt, who was pressed into play with the injury to Michael Zordich, who inactive today with a groin injury, and the penalty is against the Philadelphia Eagles.
And that came from the interior. Again, you almost have to be brain dead to not see that ball. I mean, how can you jump offside with the ball right in front of you?
That's happened all day.
By the defense, number 96. 5-yard penalty.
That was Mark Gunn.
You know, so much of what happens inside is anticipation, and you're going off a movement. But when you're a down tackle and the ball's right in front of you, man, you're the first guy who sees that. You can't jump.
It's happened more than once to Mark Gunn today.
Well, he does it again. He won't have many more opportunities to jump.
3rd down and 5, and the word on William Fuller is that it's doubtful that he'll return to the action. Ball at the 21 of Philadelphia. Hostetler with time, and the pass is caught by Darrell Hobbs. His 5th catch of the game, and that'll be good enough for a Raider first down. Derek Frazier doing all he can against a taller receiver, defending on the play.
Frazier had good coverage, but Hostetler had good time to throw this football. They tried to run the stunts up top. Nice job by Jenkins. Nice job by Skrepenak. And that allows him to step up. Now, here's what I want you to watch. I want you to watch Hobbs come back to the football. He knows where the ball is. See how he goes back and gets it? When he comes back, that gives enough separation between he and Frazier to make the catch.
Coming into the game, Hobbs had 5 catches for 66 yards. He's caught 5 today for 70 yards. And a first down at the 11-yard line. And Harvey Williams tripped up, but again, the second effort gets him to the 10.
William Thomas on the tackle.
And that's that old counter OT that Joe Bugle brought with him from Washington and then to Arizona and now here. And I think the one addition that's been a really great addition for the Raiders, and Jimmy Johnson talked about it in the pregame, is Joe Bugle. Joe Bugle has brought back some pride to that offensive line, which I think has been missing for a while.
He is a Raider in his character, isn't he?
He's whatever he has to be, no, Joe Bugle.
2nd down and 9. Hostetler from the 10-yard line going for the end zone, and it is out of bounds to Tim Brown. He did not have both feet in bounds, but it was a fine pass by Hostetler in a crowd in the corner.
Well, the ball's up. He's got to get both of those things down. There's one and there's none. He has 1 foot down, and that's a nice call. See, the 1 foot comes down, the left one's in, and the right one's out. Nice protection up front again by the Raiders. The only way they've been getting any pressure, the Eagles, has been by blitzing.
Hostetler, 2 interceptions, but 4 passes have been dropped. It'll be 3rd down and 9. Haas, incomplete, going for Darrell Hobbs. And that will send the kicker onto the field. Once again, the Eagles have done a good job.
They're doing a very good job of tight coverage inside the red zone. Nice job by Derek Frazier. He comes up, he plays it tight. You know you have to give, but you don't give that much. And then you have to anticipate and break stuff down here. So you break on that ball, and that thing has to be thrown because of the coverage, low and outside because of the coverage of Frazier.
Cole Ford, who has succeeded on a 35-yard field goal in the first half. This is a 27-yard attempt. The kick is good, and the Raiders have taken the lead for the first time today by a score of 20-17. All over the Oakland Coliseum, even in the outside parking lot, tailgaters. Cole Ford, who just put the Raiders in front with a field goal, kicking off to Kelvin Martin. Martin of the Eagles, still going, and he is down shy of the 30-yard line by James Trapp. So the Raiders have run off 20 unanswered points and lead the Eagles by 3 with nearly 5 minutes gone by in the 3rd quarter. Trailing now 20-17, and taking a look at the Eagles' first half possessions. Pretty good start with a touchdown and a field goal, but then things came apart.
They came apart through here. This is the one that they can build on. That last one with the 10 plays, although they missed the field goal, of course they had the penalty, remember? But they did have something to build on. Let's see if they can build on it from now in the second half.
Raiders with a field goal on their first possession of the second half. It'll be first down for Randall Cunningham. And the Eagles on their 28. Cunningham 9 of 14 for 94 yards. Ricky Waters goes in motion. And the pass to Jimmy Johnson. Tight end and a gain of about 4 or 5. Mike Jones, the middle linebacker.
They've been getting a lot of pressure today. One of the reasons is 56, Pat Swilling. Pat Swilling is reborn here with the Raiders. I mean, all of a sudden, it looks to me like he's got that good first step again. Something that he hasn't had since his days in New Orleans. Because in Detroit, for some reason, he looked flat. But I'll tell you what, 3 sacks today, he is hot as a pistol.
Charlie Garner, the running back, on the handoff on 2nd and 5, and Garner will have an Eagle first down. With a smart run up the middle, Greg Beekert ultimately brings him down.
I tell you, that's one kid I really like. I like that Charlie Garner. And he's just got it. Whatever it is, he has. Because he'll make you miss. He runs inside really well. He's not a real big guy. He has that quickness. He and Napoleon Kaufman, I'm telling you, they look almost exactly the same. He's a little taller, not as muscular, but the same magic.
1st and 10 on the 39 of Philadelphia. And here's Ricky Waters with some running room. Ricky Waters may have another first down for the Eagles, close to midfield. Derek Hoskins and Eddie Anderson, the twin safeties, on the stop.
They caught him in a blitz. The Raiders came up inside with the blitz. I can do that.
10 carries, and he's caught 2 passes. 2nd down and 1. Passing is Cunningham, and he goes to Ricky Waters underneath, and that'll be a first down into Raider territory with Hoskins defending, and a pickup of 4.
The 3 Raider linebackers have really impressed me when I watched them on tape. Greg Beekert, 54 inside. Mike Jones, 52. And then on the other side, 53, Fredrickson. And they have really done a good job. Nice and aggressive, and they're very sound. Looks like a real smart group.
Al Davis on the field before the game said Beekert reminds him a lot of you, number 55.
And then that poor guy, he's not going to go very far.
Garner back in and running back. On first down, here's Charlie Garner. And he doesn't get much. Rob Fredrickson, another one of those outstanding linebackers you've been referring to.
Yeah, the thing with Fredrickson, who was a #1 pick last year, I think, for Michigan State, he runs very well. He's got nice size at about 240. Where he really has to get better is he's got to be stronger at the point of attack over the tight end. Because he's got nice instincts and he runs well. And he wears old Rod Martin's number 53. You know, you wear that number, automatically you got to be strong at the point.
You got to be. 2nd down and 8. Carpenter and Calvin Williams. Carpenter goes in motion. And the pass intended for Rob Carpenter, but thrown out of bounds.
That's a tough throw. That's a 2-receiver route. And 3 guys are waiting on that. And when that stuff happens, you know, you got nothing to do except throw that thing away.
Rodney Peete, who is the backup quarterback, and Ray Rhodes told us yesterday I would not hesitate in going with Peete, who he feels has really taken to his offense a lot quicker than Randall Cunningham.
Yeah, but at this point, there's no reason to get rid of him. Cunningham's doing a good job.
Yes, he is, but he still has Peete as a possibility. 3rd down and 8. Cunningham loses the ball, loose ball, and the Raiders may have it. And Chester McLaughlin recovers the fumble.
Free piggyback rides here today at the college. Look at it.
That's a bonus.
That should be a bonus because Anthony Smith, 94, is the guy who caused that thing.
Chester McLaughlin recovers the fumble in Eagle territory with 7:04 to go in the 3rd.
Poor Anthony Smith is going to come off the corner on Antone Davis, and he just stays with that corner. See, works, get up, go to the arm under. Now you just get your paw in there. See that? Right there causes the fumble, and then Chester McLaughlin, who had been stuffed at the line of scrimmage, comes up when the ball's flopping around. You just flop right on it.
That is the 5th turnover in this game. Napoleon Kaufman is the running back, 1st down and 10, and setting up deep behind Hostetler. The Eagles have turned it over twice. Hostetler up the middle, and wide open is Andrew Glover, and the tight end found the seam, and a first down beyond the 20-yard line for 24 yards.
Outstanding job by Jeff Hostetler. See what happened? He watched that safety walk up. And so what that does is it limits what you can do in coverage. And so he just waits and he's patient, tries to hold the safety, and even though he gets the shot and the pressure by Mamula, he looks to safety and pulls it the other way, and then Glover comes right down with the catch. That's good football by the quarterback.
And Glover has as many catches today as he had coming into this contest, and a first down on the 21 of the Eagles. Here's Napoleon Kaufman fighting inside for the hard yards. Is stopped by Govea after a pickup of 3. Now this game summary is brought to you by Budweiser. 5 turnovers. The Eagles just turned one over and the Raiders threatened. 10-7 in the points off the turnovers, and the Raiders, after trailing 17-0, have scored 20 and threatening again. 2nd and 7. Hostetler, and he's got James Jett. McMillan on the quick tackle, but the Raiders are inside the 10-yard line, and another first down for Oakland. Well, Hostetler looking very calm. He's had all day to throw.
And that's the key. I mean, they've run the ball relatively well, but he's been so well protected. Remember early he was starting to get some hits on him. Well, I'll tell you, once Fuller has been out of there, they've been tough to generate a pass rush. And without a pass rush, Hostetler will pick your point.
Fuller suffering the hamstring pull on the last play of the half. Doubtful he'll return. First and goal at the 8. Hoffman. And again, loss of 1. Mamula. The Raiders, when they've gotten inside the red zone today, have had 2 opportunities and they've cashed in both times, including a touchdown.
Remember that field goal that they did a very good job. The Philadelphia Eagles did of stuffing them right there. And now you forced a 2nd down, and we'll see what they do here, because the last time they were here, the Eagles played good defense.
2nd down and goal, the ball at the 9. Harvey Williams, a running back with 3 wide receivers. Hostetler can't find anyone, and he's going to be knocked down. It was Romanowski who forced the play.
Yeah, great play by Bill Romanowski right there. Really good job of having patience and maintaining your coverage. You had to hang back in your zone, and you keep waiting and waiting and waiting, and then wait for the quarterback to make his break. Now, once he crosses the line of scrimmage, that's the only time you can come up. See Romanowski right out here. See how he's holding his coverage? Hold it the whole time. Wait, now make your break.
Ronnie Dixon is shaken up on the field. He had gone in for Mark Gunn. We'll be back. His right knee over on the Eagle bench as their defensive line quickly becoming depleted. William Fuller went out with a hamstring pull. Unlikely he'll come back. It'll be 3rd down and goal at the 7 for the Raiders. Fenner in motion. Hostetler to the end zone. Touchdown to Derek Fenner. Seven-yard toss to Derek Fenner. His 2nd touchdown catch of the year, and the Raiders add to their lead.
A lot of time to throw this ball, but look, at the end, he showed the toughness of Hostetler. See just hold. Now he takes the shot. Not that bad. But a good job at the end. See, fine, this is too wide open. There's got to be a breakdown inside in that coverage to let Fenner out there.
Raiders cash in on the fumble and the recovery by McLaughlin, so they have capitalized on both Eagle turnovers today. And Cole Ford for the extra point. It is good. And so the Oakland Raiders, who at one point were trailing 17-0, have stormed back and have scored now 27 unanswered points. Ensuing kickoff. Here's Ed Hockley, the referee.
Offsides by the defense, number 54, lined up in the neutral zone. The point is good. The 5-yard penalty will be enforced on the kickoff.
27-17. That was a 6-play, 46-yard drive, capped by the touchdown pass, Hostetler to Fenner. And the big play was the throw to the tight end, Andrew Glover, for 24 yards. But it all started after the Cunningham fumble. Kelvin Martin is back. Cole Ford kicking off. Martin back along with Charlie Garner. And it's a kick that bounces, picked up by Garner. Runs into his own man and is dropped at about the 26-yard line. Mike Morton gets credit for the tackle.
Remember I said something had to be messed up? Watch right here. William Thomas. Here comes the back in motion. This back is going to try to clear this zone and open us up inside. Puts Frazier right here on an island. Rather right down here. And so he's got to run through that zone all the way. When he drops him, see there's already a guy up here covered. When he drops him, that puts the pressure back on Frazier. And at the end of that, Frazier turns and looks at him and says, what the heck are you doing?
There's Thomas, who has made some good plays against runs so far today. It'll be first down on the 27-yard line. Eagles now trailing by 10. Cunningham's pass, and it's knocked down. And a good defensive play in the secondary by Albert Lewis. And right now for McDonald's game break, let's return to James Brown in our Hollywood studio.
Dick, the Giants exploded offensively today, led by Rodney Hampton's career-high 4 rushing touchdowns as the Giants spanked the Saints 45-29. Take it back to Oakland, Dick and Matt.
Somebody had to win.
Yeah, somebody had to win, and whenever you get a New Orleans defense like they have, who's so small up front, you just pound it with Rodney Hampton.
And that's what they did today. Second down and 10 on the draw play. Ricky Waters and the Raiders trying to tear the ball out. It was Mike Jones going after the ball, but a gain nonetheless of 9 yards for Waters. Hostetler and Brown talking over passing routes on the sideline.
9-yard gain. 3rd and 1.
It'll be 3rd down and 1. Waters has gained 41 yards on 11 carries. Two tight ends with 3rd and 1, and here's Waters. He goes outside, first down, beating Eddie Anderson, who pushes him out of bounds in Raider territory. That was a 17-yard gain by Ricky.
Well, you know, and you need everybody on the same page where this happens. And then, you know, you have a wide receiver, 86, you keep him in tight. And he's got to do a good job of blocking. He does a great job on Joe King, 31. He just stuck his face in there, holding up to the outside, which allowed Waters to be able to bounce. See that hold that he got away with? See, it's not called. It's not a penalty.
Well, you saw Barnett on the block. He's caught only 1 pass today. Fred Barnett for 12 yards.
He needs to catch more balls up the field.
Charlie Garner into the game to give Waters a breather, is stopped by McLaughlin trying to go up the middle, and a pickup of only 2.
Yeah, I think what happened was when Ray Roach came in with John Gruden, the offensive coordinator, and they said, we're going to put this offense in. They said, okay, you know, you take Fred Barnett is going to be Jerry Rice. But what they found out was that Fred Barnett is not the same kind of receiver in terms of quick start-stop movements. He's not one of those guys who's in and out. He's a straight line guy, more of a stiff guy, and he's got to make most of his plays down the field.
On 2nd and 8, Cunningham pumps once, tipped and intercepted by Rob Fredrickson. And Fredrickson returns the interception. That is the 3rd turnover by the Eagles. Each side has committed 3, but the Raiders lead it by 27-17.
That's a terrible throw by Cunningham. That was a force. He tried to throw it in too tight. You can't go where he wants to go. He stayed on the receiver the whole time, so he never came off it. You can't do that. It is. And then after the interception, you know, Cunningham gets over there trying to make the play. He's lucky he didn't get hurt. I mean, look, he just gets drilled in the back by Pat Swilling.
Well, the Raiders in Eagle territory. Last week, both Oakland touchdown drives started in Kansas City territory. They're on the 48. Hostetler has had all day. Hits Tim Brown. Very near to a first down.
And see, make that bad throw and you get over there and everybody's kind of down. It kind of leaves you alone, but you see one guy who came over just to talk to him and kind of console him a little bit was Ray Rhodes and the head coach. And if the head coach comes over and tells you something, you know, you kind of listen.
That's the psychology head coaches have to use, when to pick up a guy and when to slap him.
Even though you want to slap him, you pat him on the back.
2nd and 1. Harvey Williams, first down.
Harvey Williams up the middle.
Rodney Peete, we mentioned, loosening up just in case. Ray Rhodes says that I'm going to use 2 quarterbacks, and he did against the Arizona Cardinals when he brought Peete in the 2nd quarter. And Peete engineered the victory over the Cardinals 31-19 for the Philadelphia's only win of the year. First down on the 35. Turnovers are 3 and 3, but the Eagles have coughed it up here in the 2nd half. Hostetler loses the ball, and Andy Harmon recovers for Philadelphia.
Well, let's see if Rodney Peete comes in or Randall Cunningham.
Now, Peete did not warm up, and it's going to be Rodney Peete. So he was loosening up for good reason. And Randall Cunningham has gone to the bench. And Rodney Peete is going to come in for the 3rd time this year.
Well, this one just looked like it popped out of his hands. Get the blocking, he steps up inside, nice job by Gogan, and then it just squirts right out of there. It's the old watermelon seed.
So Rodney Peete, who had been with Detroit and Dallas, that's his numbers over a 7-year career, has a first down on the Eagle 42. Philadelphia trails by 10, and here's Ricky Waters. He can't get away from Eddie Anderson, and there's a flag down.
That looks like it's going to be a hold, and it is against the Eagles.
Penalty is indicated against the Eagles.
So Randall Cunningham coming out.
By the offense, number 62. 10-yard penalty, repeat first down.
Guy McIntyre, the left guard. Cunningham with 11 for 19, 102 yards, and the interception.
Penalty spots the ball to 32.
And it was the interception
1st and 20.
by Fredrickson that drove him from the game.
And that was just a force, you know, they're just trying to make a play happen, just like Guy McIntyre right there. You know, it's a force. He's trying to make something happen. He's working over Chester McLaughlin and Jerry Ball inside. And you just grab on.
1st and 20 for Rodney Peete, and they'll have a false start on the right side of the line. Might have been Antone Davis.
And they're self-destructing right now.
False start prior to the snap by the offense, number 78.
Would a new quarterback cause that problem?
Yeah, that could happen. You're not used to the same kind of cadence. You can see Rodney Peete just a little, maybe a little bit different cadence, and then Antone Davis not used to it, and boom, you get your 10th penalty of the day.
Raiders have been relatively penalty-free, although 50 yards, a lot of yards, but only 4 called against them. It'll be first down and 25. And the Eagles are knocked back to their 27-yard line. Winding down to the end of the 3rd quarter. Peete gets some time, and the pass is deflected in the air and intercepted by Terry McDaniel.
Credit Andre Bruce. He hit Rodney Peete's hand, and the ball flopped up there like a wounded duck.
His protection evaporated, and McDaniel with the interception, and that is the end of the 3rd quarter with the score. The Raiders 27 and the Eagles 17. Fox NFL Sunday will continue after these messages from your local Fox.
Number 99, who's right down here, is going to run a stunt. Now the Eagles slide this way to Chester McLaughlin, and then he just beats Raleigh McKenzie and doesn't allow Rodney Peete to be able to follow through on this ball. He hits the arm and then just flops up there. And then because they're playing the zone, Terry McDaniel is reading it and break right on it.
And Andre Bruce knows that he made the key play that set up the interception. So as we start the 4th quarter, Dick Stockton and Matt Millen, the Raiders, who have forced turnovers on every Eagle possession in the 2nd half, have a first down on their own 42. Hostetler. Tip, and it's caught by Tim Brown. Short pass and a gain of 3 yards. Well, 2 of television's funniest and longest running comedies are on tonight at special times. Terry McDaniel being worked on the sideline. He picked up his first interception of the year. It'll be 2nd and 7 for the Raiders on the Philadelphia 39. Spread it out for Hostetler, and he's tripped up from behind. And it was Mike Mamula with the quarterback sack, and that is the 2nd of the game for the Eagles.
They won't give him a sack.
No, he gained 3 yards.
Yeah, he picked up 3.
Yes, he did.
I got to tell you who's been playing pretty well. The corners for the Philadelphia Eagles. McMillan and Frazier have actually been doing a pretty good job because they've been having to respect the speed. Now, sometimes you're going to see a lot of balls thrown in front of them, but that's the game plan they went into this game with. They were not going to have anybody go up on them, and they're going to keep everything in front of them.
And Eric Zomolt's done a good job as well at strong safety. 3rd down and 4. Hostetler up the middle, pass caught by Tim Brown. Flag is down, and Brown is tackled at about the 5-yard line. But a penalty marker down upfield near the line of scrimmage. It was Zomolt who made the stop finally on Brown.
Yeah, that's a hold.
And they're going to bring it all back. A 32-yard gain has been nullified.
Holding by the offense, number 78. 10-yard penalty, repeat 3rd down.
Greg Skrepenak, the right tackle.
You watch 78, he's right on the end of your line of scrimmage, and looks like he's going to be working against 93 Daniel Stubbs, who they picked up from Cincinnati, and he goes with the arm under, and he just held him a little bit too long. Kind of a weak call. You know, personally, I think you can make a call on any play. I think you could just go throw the flag and say holding on somebody inside, and you'll be right.
Ronnie Dixon had a sprained knee earlier. Fuller, of course, out with a hamstring. That's why Stubbs was in there. 3rd and 14. Hostetler wide open. Tim Brown, and he's got the first down inside the 25. It was Barry Wilburn, the nickelback, making the tackle, and Tim Brown had no one near him in a gain of 24 yards.
Well, that's inexcusable. That is absolutely inexcusable on your underneath coverage if you're the Philadelphia Eagles. You have a 2nd and long situation. You're only rushing the 4 guys. Nice job by Harmon of breaking through and getting a hit. But then, you know, Tim Brown, he's just looking for the separation between the deep secondary and your underneath coverage. See Bobby Taylor, the rookie right there. They got about a 6-yard drop. That's stupid. You have to let everything develop in front of you.
5 catches, 74 yards for Tim Brown. And on first down, Harvey Williams in the middle of the line gets inside the 20. Well, Jeff Hostetler has not had a rough day of it as far as the pass rush is concerned. He's been sacked twice, but how tough has it been?
Well, the thing is, you can see the knockdowns on the other side, and I think part of that is we really haven't seen a lot of the real short stuff today. They've held on to the ball a little bit longer, and I think the key is that they've been holding it so long that eventually somebody's going to whack it, but he's been giving them a lot of time to throw down the field.
A lot of medium stuff today.
Yeah.
For Haas. 2nd and 4. Here's Williams around right in. And Williams, close to the goal line, is down at about the 6-yard line. Mark McMillan finally made the play. 13-yard pickup for Harvey Williams.
He got
1st and goal.
Yeah, remember they started doing this early in the game where they run inside and he bounces outside. Now I think you have to know your offense like you know a book, a well-read book. And so when you see 22 come in the game, you got to know if you're the guy who has the outside of the line of scrimmage, you got to hold that because it's going to come out to you eventually. He likes to bounce it outside.
1st and goal at the 9. 2 tight ends, and Williams dives inside the 5-yard line. Kurt Gouveia on the tackle, and it's pretty impressive the way these Oakland Raiders, after falling behind 17-0, and it looks as if the umpire, Neil Garib, is shaken up a bit.
Well, they're getting him back for last week.
Well, it wasn't him.
It doesn't matter. You know, it doesn't matter who it is. It's just the position. Yeah.
Today, the Raiders have 2 touchdowns and a field goal when they've been in the red zone, and this is their 4th foray there. Second and goal at the 4. They're going to keep it on the ground to Williams. No signal. Touchdown.
That's the latest touchdown signal I've ever seen.
2 touchdowns today by Harvey Williams. He went over on a 1-yard dive to cap a 14-play, 81-yard drive in the second quarter, and now another touchdown for the Raiders.
Well, you know, all he's doing is he's just getting behind those 3 big rear ends in the middle. Turk 67, Gogan 66, Wisniewski 76, and then he's just running right up the middle.
And they had Glover, the other tight end, blocking as well.
Well, they're just getting a push. You know, nice job by Skrepenik right there. Outstanding job on Stubbs. And that wasn't a touchdown.
No, his knee was down before that. Ball's over the top. The extra point is good. So now it's 34 straight points run off by the Raiders, and they've doubled the Eagles score. Amazing. Well, it's not a costume party, but it is a party for the Oakland Raiders, who, after trailing 17-0, have scored 34 consecutive points. That one went 7 plays, 42 yards. Harvey Williams with his second touchdown of the day. The key play was the Tim Brown catch, 24 yards on 3rd and 17. I wonder what the Eagles have left now, Matt. Kelvin Martin and Charlie Garner are back deep. Garner will step out of bounds.
Charlie Garner took the kickoff to the 12-yard line.
So we'll be back. Timeout. And there's Urban Magic Johnson here rooting the Raiders on here at the Coliseum.
Yeah, we saw him before the game. He says he comes up for every game. He's got his season tickets.
Great sports fan, both in Los Angeles and here, you might say. First down on the 27-yard line. Rodney Peete, the quarterback, and his pass to Kelvin Martin, and Martin did not stay in bounds, and it's an incompleted pass, and a flag is down back at the line of scrimmage, and we may have and will have roughing the passer called against the Raiders. Well, what a shot that Rodney Peete took. It'll be a first down.
Personal foul, roughing the passer by the defense, number 95, lowering the helmet on the quarterback. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Going to be on Austin Robbins. There's the ball, and there's the hit. And if that's what they're calling lowering the helmet, then I guess you got to call it. But I don't get that. I just keep my mouth shut because I just think they're taking too much of football out of football.
Well, that's the kind of thing that they put in this year, the penalty of using your helmet. That's the 4th personal foul called against the Raiders. Robbins, who scored a touchdown earlier in the game. First down on the 42 following the penalty, and overthrowing Kelvin Martin was Rodney Peete. I want to remind you here that this game is presented by authority of the National Football League and is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the expressed written consent of the Oakland Raiders and the National Football League is prohibited.
Rodney Pete's come in off the bench, and he looks like he just came in off the bench. He's been throwing high the whole time.
Second down and 10. 34-17 in favor of the Raiders. Peete goes down. And Robbins will get credit and does a little dance afterward. Loss of 5 yards. And the Eagles in the second half, nothing but disasters. 3 turnovers, and 2 have been cashed in for points by the Raiders.
Well, remember we said right before the half, see what they can build on? They got squat. they just came out, and everything that could go wrong for Ray Rhodes has gone wrong.
Mike White's defense has been terrific. 5 sacks against Eagle quarterbacks. It'll be 3rd down and 14. 5 minutes gone by in the 4th quarter. Peete, and they rule it in.
No whistle.
No whistle. It's a ball, and he's going to score. That's going to be Rob Fredrickson.
That's a touchdown.
It was not ruled a pass, and so Andre Bruce forced the fumble, and Rob Fredrickson runs it in for the touchdown. and everyone froze out on the field, including, I might add, the Raiders.
Yeah, see Chester McLaughlin, he was going, hey, go, no whistle.
So the Raiders get another one, and their defense has done as well as their offense when it's come to scoring today. The second fumble recovery for a touchdown by the Oakland Raiders today.
Well, you've just witnessed the self-destruction of the Philadelphia Eagles.
9 turnovers. But more important, the Raiders have scored 27 points on 5 Philadelphia turnovers. And Cole Ford on to try yet another conversion, and the kick is good. It is 41-17. 41 straight points by the Silver and Black.
To get the hit. Now the question is, did his arm come forward before the ball comes out? Here he starts to make the throw. No, that's a fumble. That ball hit. He hit his arm as it was starting to come forward. And so that's a fumble all the way.
Ray Rhodes talking with Ed Hockley, the referee, who is explaining that he did not come forward with the ball. So when you look at 7 sacks by the Raiders and 5 turnovers by the Eagles, you can understand why it's 41 points on the board for the Raiders, and the reaction of Rodney Peete. He's had a rough time since coming in for Randall Cunningham here in the second half.
The offensive tackles of the Philadelphia Eagles had a horrendous day today. They have just been beaten all day long.
Cole Ford will be kicking off once more. Martin and Garner back deep for the Eagles. And this kick is in the end zone where it's down by Martin. That's the first kickoff that went into the end zone, and it's an inspired group of Raiders. Now a flag is down. Now they may have an unsportsmanlike
conduct by the kicking team, coming down and encircling and intimidating the receiver.
They call it intimidation.
15-yard penalty. First down.
You know, they went down there and they probably said, nah. That probably kind of just told them, we're killing you, take that.
Well, they've done a lot of intimidation on the field during play. Now they're doing it after the touchback and pushing and grabbing.
That's Morton and Jimmy Johnson. I got you, you got me. You know, this whole second half, and really from the middle of the second quarter on, has been all Raider defense. I mean, you can see it. They gave up 10 points. Of course, the other one was an interception that went back. And then 7 sacks, the forced turnovers, and they've scored 14 points of their own.
Andre Bruce hit Rodney Peete, leading to McDaniel's interception, and then Bruce caused the fumble run in by Fredrickson and Ricky Waters. And another penalty marker is down. So there's another flag, and it's going to be holding against the Eagles. You're right about that offensive line.
By the offense, number 63, 10-yard penalty, repeat first down.
Well, in our return for you, Matt, to Oakland, you took us to the old practice field.
Yeah, look, they made it a baseball field. Well, that'll soon be gone. And then, see, this was all landfill. And then here's the old dump that we called the locker room right here. See that right there? And that's not the best part. See this thing right here? This was the weather vane, the weather station that they send the balloon up. See, every day at practice at 4:15, they send that balloon up. And so at 4:15, we all looked over there and knew what time it was, so you gauge when you're going to get out of there.
It did bring back a lot of memories, didn't it?
Yeah, here's another memory. See, every fourth quarter, for some reason, these birds show up. The seagulls will show up to come down and eat. Madden always talked about that. How the heck did they ever know when to show up?
I think they're looking to circle the green and silver.
Oh, they're vultures. They're not.
That's what I mean. Second down and 14. Peete to Ricky Waters, who has to turn around to make the catch. And gain of 12 yards. James Trapp making the play.
Well, you wonder why they haven't been throwing the ball down the field, and here's a big reason. Number 29, Albert Lewis. Anytime you get coverage like this, you can't throw the ball down the field. I watch Albert Lewis, and he reminds me so much of Mike Haynes, the great Raider cornerback, who in my opinion should be a Hall of Famer. Albert Lewis has that kind of look, and he plays the same kind of game as Mike Haynes did.
3rd down and 2. Here's pressure on Pete. Eagles pick it up. And Pete's pass is caught by Ed West. No, that's Calvin Williams. And Williams will have the first down. He hasn't been able to go to Williams or Barnett much today.
Boy, Eddie Anderson came up and he was going to run the blitz, and he just took a shot right in the chops. I think from Guy McIntyre right inside. Watson's going to come walk up, try to get the full speed. Boink! Look at that shot right in the face. And then Calvin Williams working on Terry McDaniel on the other side. And McDaniel just slipped at the end, and a nice job by Williams of running after the catch.
4 catches and 61 yards for Calvin Williams. First down on the 36 of the Raiders. And he completes it to Williams. Second straight reception. Let's look at the total yards and break it down by half. In the first half, which wound up 17-17, the Raiders had a pretty sizable lead. But now look at the second half, and a lot of that, the great defense holding the Eagles to only 77 yards.
Yeah, I think the Oakland Raider defense really took control of it was in the middle of the second quarter that they took control, because the majority of that 100 yards in the first half came in the first quarter.
2nd down and 1. Ed West in motion, slant pass to Williams. That's 3 plays and 3 passes complete to Calvin Williams, and that'll be a first down.
A nice job by Rodney Peete right there. And at that time, Peete was right in sync. He looked everybody off to the right side, knew he had single coverage on the other side, so you throw the quick slant. The one thing with this kind of offense that they always go back to constantly is always the slant. All else fails, you go to a slant. Nice job by Williams of working off of the jam.
Lewis gave him a good shot.
Yeah, it's a good jam.
First down, 16-yard line. Pete, and it's broken up. It was intended for Fred Barnett and broken up by Najee Mustafa. Well, Al Davis telling us before the game that the great thing about coming back to Oakland has been the home field advantage. And there you can see the record at the Coliseum versus the record at the LA Coliseum.
Well, the thing is, there's just a difference. These people right here, they just are rabid. They love the Raiders. A lot of these guys were down in Oakland, in Los Angeles for all those years.
Second and 10. And he did not have possession. Calvin Williams could not hold on to it.
And talking about the fans, I'll tell you the difference. I'm in the locker room before the game with Steve Wisniewski, and we're just sitting there, and it's kind of quiet, and all of a sudden you can hear this roar go up. And you look around, and everybody looks at each other, and Wisniewski goes, "Hey, second bus is here." That never happened in LA. He goes, "Just like the other places." And I think that's the difference. I think the players know and feel the fans, and it gives them that extra boost.
Think the fans come prepared?
I think these fans are as goofy as the players.
3rd and 10 from the 16. Pete. Calvin Williams, but that throw was not close, and that will bring up 4th down. And the Eagles will go for it, trailing by as much as they are.
It's hard to get a read on where you're at as a team in games like this, because they're going to go back and they're going to watch the tapes of Philadelphia Eagles, and they're going to say, all right, what did we do wrong? Well, the first thing you're going to see is all the mistakes. They're going to see not necessarily the physical ones, but the interception, the fumbles, all the things that you killed yourself with. And then you have to ask the question, if we don't kill ourselves, how much worse or maybe better are we than where we're at?
That's what they got to think about. 4th and 10. Pete up the middle. And the pass is incomplete. It was broken up. Ricky Waters was the intended receiver, and Pete took a shot after he let go of the ball. So the Raiders will take over on downs. So the fourth down play fails, and we'll be back with 6:34 on the clock. 34 remaining in the game. The Raiders on their way to their third victory of the season. The Eagles going the other way would be 1-3. 41-17. Vince Evans has come in at age 40, the oldest quarterback in the NFL, this being his 16th year. And Jeff Hostetler taking the rest of this game off. It'll be a first down on the 16 after the fourth down play failed to materialize for the Eagles. Evans will throw on first down, and he's right on the money to Darryl Hobbs, and a first down for the Raiders.
It didn't take that old quarterback long to get right into the flow. They walked up to an 8-man front. He audibled, went right to the out.
He got knocked down, got up like a jack in the box. Jeff Hostetler finished 22 for 32, had 2 interceptions, and then threw a touchdown in the second half to Derek Fenner. And even though he was knocked down a few times, had great protection overall today. Ball at the 26, first down. Evans will throw it again, and the pass is knocked down by Derek Frazier, intended for Darryl Hobbs.
I'll tell you, a couple of things that you got to be aware of if you're a Philadelphia Eagle fan. This guy, 23, Derek Frazier, he's played very well today. I mean, he knows what he's doing out there. He had a rough one last week. You got to respect the speed. I'll tell you, he's made a lot of plays today. And I think that was one of the positions that the Eagles were worried about, and I think they've got to be pleased with his play.
The biggest problem has been the offensive line. Darryl Hobbs with a big day today with 6 catches for 81 yards. He had 52 receiving yards all of last year. So he has exceeded that in one game. Second and 10. Again, Evans going to the air. And this one's caught by James Jett. Well, there's another speedster that they have as a wide receiver.
Yeah, there's a guy who I expected to have a bigger role in this offense this year. So far, it hasn't shown up. There's a guy who's got the great speed down the field. Reminds a lot of people of the old Cliff Branch, old 21, pushing things down the field. But I think with this offense, he's going to have to find his way because to this point, they haven't been pushing it up the field.
Jett with 2 receptions. It'll be first down now for the Raiders on their 41. Hand off to Napoleon Callum. Trying to beat the defense to the outside is slowed down by Eric Zomals. For those of you expecting to see space above and beyond, we will have that program following this game in its entirety, except on the West Coast. 4-yard pickup for Kaufman. Pretty good 1-2 running punch with Williams and Kaufman that the Raiders have to go along with their passing attack.
Well, and I think you have to talk about the interior 3 of the offensive line of those Raiders. You know, it was Newski and Gogan and Dan Turk. Those guys have really played well. And now, you know, they made the switch tonight now. They got Robbins in for Turk at center. They've blown some major league holes.
Second and 6, and this time Romanowski stops Napoleon Kaufman. And right now, from McDonald's game break, let's return to James Brown in our Hollywood studio.
Hey, Dick, we all know how important Emmitt Smith is to the Cowboys, but take a look on this play here, the handoff. He's got 116 on the ground already, but hit hard by Terry Hogue, falls on that left forearm, and as you see, he gets up grabbing that left elbow and forearm, being carried to the locker room for x-rays. We'll update you if we get more information. Right now, let's send you back to Oakland. Dick Stockton, Matt Millen.
Well, he doesn't run with an elbow. That's one good thing. If you're a Dallas Cowboy fan.
It's going to be a very interesting x-ray coming up. Meanwhile, third down and 5. Evans with good protection, and he's got Darryl Hobbs in the open field. Hobbs with 1 man to beat, and Hobbs will get in for the score. A career game for Darryl Hobbs. And 40-year-old Vince Evans comes in for the first time this year, and coolly and calmly hits Hobbs, who chases it in for a 54-yard touchdown play.
All kinds of time to throw that football. Nice job up front by the tackles. Nice job by Gogan. And then Hobbs just finds the center of that zone. And then at the end, I want you to watch 82, James Jett. He just gets on Barry Wilbur and keeps pushing. That allows Hobbs to get inside.
Third year for Hobbs, who was signed by the Raiders as a free agent 3 years ago, and originally with the LA Raiders, and a career game for him as Cole Ford kicks the extra point. And it is now 48-17, and for Hobbs, 7 catches, 135 yards, and a spectacular touchdown.
Heck, they know they got their old guy back there, so they got to keep his rocking chair loose. So look at the protection. Look at this, all kinds of times. Step up in the pocket, find Hobbs in the middle of that defense, in between the zones, between the deep and short zones, and then he's just off to the races. Hobbs right in the middle. I'll tell you, Ray Rhodes is going to pull his hair out when he takes a look at this film and see how they're playing those zones, because it looks like the backers are not getting the depth that they should be getting.
And by the way, the Raiders' longest offensive pass play was only 28 yards from Hostetler to Rocket Ismail until now. And this 54-yard strike from Evans to Hobbs, the longest pass play of the year for the Oakland Raiders.
I'd say he's a happy guy. He's the only guy on the Raider team who was around to play in this stadium. In fact, I played against him in the last game here against the Chicago Bears.
I remember it.
And yeah, you should. You called it.
Kickoff, and Charlie Garner bobbles it out of bounds.
Boy, when it rains, it pours. You can do nothing right.
And like last week, the Eagles had a 14-0 lead over the Chargers at Veterans Stadium, only to lose 27-21. Today, the Eagles were up 17-0, only to be crushed at this point 48-17.
I think this kind of sums up the whole day if you're the Philadelphia Eagles. You want to make something happen. You're trying to make a big play, but it's just been out of their reach the whole game long.
For a while, things looked pretty bright for the Philadelphia Eagles, but the Raiders had not answered. Starting from the 4-yard line, Ricky Waters, the setback for Rodney Peete. Waters with a fine run up the middle and a first down. Again, we want to remind you, following football, space above and beyond in its entirety except on the West Coast.
Well, heck, that's what the Raider passing game has been. They found all kinds of space above and beyond that second set of zone. And they've been, heck, they throw that defense out there again, he'll still be throwing.
Second down and 2. Here is Ricky Waters. Looked like he was going to go down a couple of times, and he stays on his feet. He has another first down to the 25. Aaron Wallace making the play.
And the first down. Ball spotted on the 25.
Well, it's back to the old drawing board for the Philadelphia Eagles.
Clock running, less than 2.5 minutes to play. Rodney Peete completes it to Rob Carpenter. We're going to get down to the 2-minute warning. By the way, the 48 points by the Raiders, the most points that they have scored since the third game of last year against the Denver Broncos, when they got exactly 48 points. 2-minute warning here at Oakland Coliseum as the Raiders, if you think the internet is a safe place. 48 points today, most since game 3 of last year, but the team record is 56, set on December the 21st in '69.
10-yard gain on the
Well, all the fans got rewarded today that came on all those buses, all the tailgaters dressed in their silver and black, all the costumes that they wear. Raiders are winning their second home game. Tip ball, incomplete. In case you're interested, the x-rays on Emmitt Smith's injured elbow was negative. So that's good. Underscore that. Good news, great news for the Dallas Cowboys as we take a look at the Raiders' upcoming schedule. And not that pressing, you might say, before their bye, man.
Yeah, they got a good look at the Jets in Seattle, and Denver is playing relatively well offensively, but they'll be pressed against this defense. The Raiders look like they can go pretty far. I mean, they look like they're just finding themselves. We mentioned earlier that they don't quite know what they are offensively. They don't have the big play like they did, although today with Hobbs at the end, he got the big play. But this is still a team that's in progress, and I think they're just going to get nothing but better. Philadelphia, on the other hand, Philadelphia's got work to do. They're losing people. They need to get personnel back. They need to get more of a solid performance out of the quarterback position. Cunningham didn't play bad in the first quarter, but then he was just under too much pressure from the defense.
Nearly an interception by Bruce Pickens. And let's take a look at the Eagles' upcoming schedule. They'll play at New Orleans.
Yeah, that's a schedule that's winnable for them too. I mean, they're in the game with every one of those teams. They're just going to have to go back. They have to straighten out their offensive line. It always starts with the offensive line. You have people to work with in Garner and Ricky Waters. I mentioned about the quarterback position, and I think you're going to have to integrate a little bit more of Kelvin Martin into that passing game.
A couple of Warriors of the Eagles suffering the big setback today. 4th down and 4. Rodney Pete's pass is batted down. And Andre Bruce again has played a big role today, and the Raiders will take over. Getting back to the Eagles, the interesting thing is that no one has to worry about the Dallas Cowboys. They're going to win the NFC East. There's no question about that. But the Eagles are in the same classification with other teams who are trying to make wild cards, such as teams like the Giants, the Cardinals, the Redskins, and teams from the NFC Central. That's why the Minnesota win today over Pittsburgh really was a big one for the Vikings.
And it looks like the Minnesota Vikings are starting to play pretty good football. And it looks like Tony Dungy's done a good job with their defense. You know, on the other side of the ball for Ray Rhodes with their defense, they just need people. They just don't quite have a great. They have William Fuller's a pass rush. They need another pass rusher. They need somebody to push the pocket inside. They're a little bit small up front. But I know this. I think he's going to stick with his plan. He knows he doesn't have all the pieces of his puzzle, but he'll work to get them. It's going to have to take some time.
Raiders taking over on downs. First down from the 40-yard line. Napoleon Kaufman slipping. He would have had a few more yards as we get down to a minute and a half to go. And while we have a moment, our thanks to a group of people who have done a terrific job in helping you bring this telecast. Today's game produced by Richard Zients and directed by Artie Kempner. The executive producers of Fox Sports are Ed Gorin and David Hill. And a special thanks to Dean Walker and our splendid Fox technical crew.
You know, we talked about the running game of the Oakland Raiders and how, like, Harvey Williams likes to bounce it outside. Napoleon Kaufman will like to bounce it outside. But, you know, they always have the opportunity to go back inside, I think, because those two big guards, Wisniewski and Gogan, and then Turk in the middle, because they just keep on blowing people out of there. And as long as you have that, heck, you just fall in the fold and keep going.
You know, and as Al Davis said, you know, the Raiders have been hurt by injury. They lost two offensive linemen, Don Mosbar, the center, and Gerald Perry, the left tackle. Nolan Harrison, the defensive end. So Patrick Bates left the club. He hasn't come back. So the Raiders aren't going on all their 8 cylinders either. Joe Bugle with Hostetler, Eddie Anderson. Second down and 6. And they're just going to run out the clock here. 7 sacks and 5 turnovers. Look how the games have started off for the Eagles in the first quarter. 30-7. And then the roof has caved in. The Raiders have won it 48-17 here at Oakland. We'll be right back.